All right, you ready? Swig of water.
I am. I am.
Ah, greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of Across the Table, where the drinks are cold, the mics are hot, and the conversations are fire. This time is going to be a little different. This is going to be a sober edition of Across the
Yes.
Table, where the water is cold, the mics are hot, and the conversations are fire. Sitting across the table from me, marketer extraordinaire, Sherron Jones. How are you, sir?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me.
Man, it is a pleasure. I this one is gonna be a little different. Only because I normally talk to husbands and I
Okay.
talk to fathers.
Okay.
But you and I share the same story. But
Right.
we'll get into that a little later.
Okay.
Um, first things first, I start these off the same way every time. How are you? Like not Sharon the marketer, not Sharon the Facebook, Instagram, social media person. How are you? Like as Sharon. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Sherron is doing well. Everything in my life is going well as of right now. Um, God's plan, and that's what I live by. His plan. My grandmother used to always tell me, "You can make your plans." That's one way to make God laugh because He already has His plans.
That's one way to make God laugh. Wow.
Yes.
That, woof.
So I always live by that. I have it in my mind of what I'm set to do. But I know eventually his plan will ultimately take place.
I'm gonna keep that in the back of my head. That's
Keep
in
that
the
in the back
file
of your
cabinet
head.
back here.
All right.
Let's talk marketing.
Yes.
What is your background? How did you get started and how did you get to where you are now?
Okay. It's really interesting. I went to school to get a communications degree, end up getting a associate's degree in business administration, and then got another associate's degree a year later in marketing and sales. So I actually liked the way that was working for me. I end up leaving my one job, end up hearing on the radio that Mix 95.7 was looking for account executives. So I end up going out there. And that, as a matter of fact, I lived out here when I went in. Mix 95.7 was right down the street in Southwick Boulevard.
I remember.
Yep. So I end up leaving here, going down there after I heard the announcement, and interview. Then a week later, interview with the regional director and end up getting the job. And I've been there at Mix 95.7. At that time, it was only Mix 95.7 for now 17 years. 17 years. I helped launch Hot 97.3. I have been the senior account executive, the promotions director, um, the liaison between the sales department and the promotions department and the programming department. So I've worn many hats there.
What is the role of an account executive?
The role of the account executive is actually very simple. The commercials you hear on the air, we go out and we get those clients to actually advertise with them. So once we get them to agree to a contract, we'll set the rate. We will write the commercial, produce it, send it to them if they request it, and then put it on the air per their schedule.
Are you still there now?
I am still there now. Still there now.
Shout out to Mix 95.7.
And Hot 97.3.
Holla at me. Now, how did you jump from doing what you're doing now to the marketing company that you have and that you are kind of putting out there on social media? How did you make that jump?
The jump was really easy for me because this is what I do anyway. I do strategic marketing for clients anyway, and I have done it for the last 17 years at the station. So it was only right for me to actually move into my own company and actually get those residual revenues from those clients. When I do that, I have it's something that's been in the back of my mind to do. A lot of people have encouraged me to do it. Since I do it anyway, I might as well go ahead and put it up under my own name and my own brand. And that's what I've been doing. So it's not just marketing. I do promotions, and then I'll do entertainment because I work with a lot of entertainers with concerts and whatnot. So
You have been getting a lot of high profile. I kind of want to ask you how you do it, but I don't want you to give away your secrets. But what would be step one if somebody wanted to get into marketing and things like that?
step one is I will tell you education, but sometimes you don't need an education to do it. Just sometimes it's life experience. I just happen to have an education in doing marketing. Not to give away any of my secrets on how I do it, but I have worked so closely with Tom Joyner and what he does with the Fantastic Voyage and with the family reunion. So passing out my business card, networking with them, and then I end up getting a lot of people feeding back what they needed me to do. Because when I went to the family reunion or the Fantastic Voyage, I was always in charge of either a sponsor or an entertainer that would be in a venue that was sponsored by a company. So one year I was in charge of Ford, Budweiser, um, Track Foam, and Carnival Cruise Lines. They were one of the sponsors. So working hand in hand with those big advertisers and them having my name out there was actually been a blessing. I had a call the other day from someone here that said this other artist, this entertainer, big entertainer, wanted to reach out to me and put me on a promotional team or use my company as a promotion vehicle for something that they were doing. And that was just the information I got from him. But then when I called the celebrity, he actually told me, I remember you. I come to the station before and this, that, and the other. So it's all about networking and people getting to know you and actually liking you and like working with you.
How does one become good at networking? Because I'm not gonna hold you, I suck. Not gonna lie, but it's because I'm more. I hate to use a buzzword, but I'm more introverted.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm a quiet, sit back, read the room, see what time it is, and then talk when either there's something worth talking about
Right.
or when I'm being addressed. How do you get out of that shell to get to what you're doing right now?
And believe it or not, you and I are just alike because I'm an introvert as well.
I couldn't tell.
Yeah, I know. And that's because being in the field that I'm in, I had to break out of that shell. Now, normally, if I'm in a setting, I am so laid back and I sit back and watch. Anybody that's seen me at a club, they seen me sit back and I watch everything. So I'm just like I'm an introvert and I will talk to you when you talk to me. That's how I am.
Same here.
But if I'm in a separate setting, as far as business goes, in a networking event, then I'm totally different. I'm an extrovert. So I'll go out and I'll talk to you about your business, give you my business card, see what your business is like, what you're looking to do in the future, how you're looking to grow your business. Because a lot of advertisers are not advertising towards African Americans. And that's what I found when working in radio. So with my two stations, I actually reach a lot of the over 60, 70% of the African Americans in the city. So how are you trying to grow your business? So that's usually when I get into that mode and I get you to open up. Hey, I'm trying to get customers. Yeah, you're not just trying to get customers, you're trying to get the right customers.
We're gonna have to talk after this.
Okay.
Most definitely, we're gonna have to talk after this. How do you keep your cool being around all of these superstars and celebrities? You don't fanboy every once in a while?
Well, you know something, the when I did the Joiner cruise, and I did that 16 years ago. So I've done 16 of Joiner's cruises. And
Oh, so this is like clockwork to you.
it's clockwork to me now. But let me tell you, the first time I walked on the ship, because that was the first time I had ever been on a cruise ship, I was in awe at the cruise ship and how big it was and how beautiful it was. And then they said, "Oh, Sharon, could you go downstairs and help this person, this person, this person?" So I'm just going downstairs, not knowing that I'm actually helping the assistant to a celebrity. And then I end up meeting those celebrities. And then, yes, I was in awe. I Eddie Levert was the first person, first celebrity that I was close enough with that I talked to. And I actually met him when he came to Toledo, maybe 4 months before Gerald died. And he and I talked and everything. He was on the air with Brandy Brown, and we talked. He, Gerald, and I, and Brandy, we talked. Had a picture with the three of them, with the both of them rather, and end up seeing him on the cruise maybe a year and a half later. Showed him the picture. He said, "Can you print that out for me?" Printed it out for him on the ship because they had the little office thing. Printed it out on the ship for him, and he said, "This is going on my mantle in Cleveland, in my house in Cleveland." He said this was one of the last pictures I took with my son. So he actually has a picture of me on his mantle. So every time I see him, he says he has like just sitting on his mantle in his house.
So they like know you.
Some of them do. They recognize my face. Um, then they recognize the name, but they never put the two and two together unless I work with them consistently. Like I work with Tom and his crew consistently, so they know me with name and face. I've worked with Tasha Mack from the game, Wendy Raquel. She knows me only because she does name association, and her agent's name at the time was Sherron. So that's how she recognized me. But some of the other ones I do remember, and they remember me, and I have fun with it. So your job shouldn't be a job. Your career should be fun. It should be a career, and my career is fun.
How did you know that this was something that you wanted to do?
Because I got up in the morning excited to go. And 16 to 17 years later, that excitement is still there when I go into work because you never know in radio what's going to happen. Something different always comes along. When I worked in Dallas under Tom Joyner, I was excited about going to the office because you never knew who was coming to the office because the studio was right there downstairs. So you never knew who was going to be in the studio unless you heard the promo from the day before. And of course, I didn't hear the promos from the day before because I worked in the building with him. So I didn't have to listen to them. But then I would go downstairs to a studio. There's Fantasia. There's Robin Thicke. Some more. They would be on there to be interviewed. So it was just like I would go in and sit and just listen. And it was amazing just to see him operate and how his show was successful for the last 25 years. And loving what you do and getting up every single day loving what you do keeps you going. And I still sometimes, even now, being around the celebrities I've been around, go to concerts, and if I go backstage, I still get butterflies because I've either met them or my first time meeting them. And it's once you still get that feeling, it's unbelievable. It's like being married to someone and then you have those same butterflies from the day you first met her or went out on a date with her. It always keeps it fresh.
So it's love what you do and do what you love.
Exactly. All the time.
Yeah, we'll definitely talk after this is said and done. How did you feel when Tom Joyner stopped? Because I used to listen to Tom Joyner every morning on the way to work up to the little known Black History Fact.
Mm-hmm.
How did you feel when he quit?
Oh, he didn't quit. He just retired, but he was still doing his thing. Tom Joyner is going to always be Tom Joyner. I was sad to see him go, but I was also happy that he was leaving on his terms and not had passed away like most people pass away doing their job and then they have to scramble to find someone. I was happy he's able to retire and enjoy life. And I seen him for the first time since COVID happened and his retirement at the Fantastic Voyage this past November. Good spirits, enjoy what he does. His name is still Tom Joyner. So no matter who's on the radio, no matter who this person is or who that person is, Tom Joyner is Tom Joyner. He still carries that weight. I mean, it's like when Oprah retired, she still had other things going on, but she's still Oprah Winfrey. He's Tom Joyner. He still has other things going on. He just doesn't have his radio show, but he still owns all those properties. Ricky Smiley, D.L. Hughley, News Talk with Al Sharpton, Mary Campbell's morning show, gospel morning show that she has. So he has roughly 7 to 8 syndicated shows in radio that he owns. So Tom Joyner is going to be Tom Joyner. His name just carries that weight.
I like it. Let's shift gears for a minute
Okay.
because you went through a massive change. I used to see this man every now and then in super fitness in extra big clothes trying to hide his body,
Yeah.
putting in the work. I'm going to let you cook because I got to get a towel. I feel like I'm sweating and it's 90 degrees outside. But what sparked the weight loss journey? What made you want to do it? What was step 1 through maybe 2 or 3 of even getting started to do it? And how do you feel now?
Okay.
Just go.
Okay. So what sparked it was going to the doctor for a normal routine checkup from my previous cancer. Had to get that checkup, and the doctor said everything was fine with me. No heart disease, lungs, everything's operating the way it's supposed to, and actually operating younger than what my age was. So my organs and everything were in tip-top condition. He said, I'm just scared about your weight. So when...
Hold on, wait. Let's stop because you mentioned cancer.
Yes.
That's where you and I are exactly the same.
Yes.
Because we both had thyroid cancer.
Right.
We both had the thyroids. Did you have yours removed?
I had my thyroid, my lymph node removed from this side, but my cancer actually started in my leg as osteosarcoma.
How did they find that?
I was having trouble walking. My calf muscle was extremely big, and I have what you have in your nerve in your leg is a peroneal nerve that gives you that natural lift in your foot when you walk. Mine was being strangled by the tumor. So I liken it to drinking out of a straw and pinching it. The straw being your nerve and your fingers pinching it being the tumor. So went to the doctor to see what it was. They didn't know what it was. They thought it was a blood clot. Went through all these specialists. Ended up going to the University of Chicago hospital. And they did the ultrasound and x-rays and whatnot. The tumor in my leg was the size of a grapefruit.
Ooh, yep. The tumors in my throat were about the size of little golf balls, so
Yeah.
I know how that go.
So it was the size of a grapefruit, and it was strangling my nerve in my leg to the point where my foot would just drop. I couldn't lift it, couldn't move it around, anything. It would swell up really big. End up getting a biopsy. Came back a week later that it was a malignant tumor. They set down a regimen for me in Chicago, what I was supposed to do and what medicines they were going to give me. So went back to the University of Chicago hospital 2 weeks later. They put my catheter in my chest and started administering my drugs, my chemotherapy. came back here so I didn't have to keep traveling back and forth to Chicago. So they referred me back here, but my primary was in Chicago. Went through 6 months of chemotherapy to shrink the tumor, shrunk it down to about the size of a clementine or a small lemon. Um, Went through a 10-hour surgery, reconstructive surgery on my leg to remove the tumor. So they dissected the tumor from my leg along with some of the nerve. Put a plate in my leg to actually keep the leg stabilized. That was 10 hours of surgery. But going into surgery, they didn't know if they were going to cut off my leg or not because they didn't know how much the tumor had gone in my leg. And they couldn't see a lot of that on the ultrasound or any of the x-rays. They actually opened me up to see it. But fortunately enough, I was able to come out of surgery with my leg intact, other than some of the bone missing and some of the plates and screws in my leg now.
It's better than the alternative.
Exactly. And then after that, went through another 6 months of chemotherapy just to make sure they got everything and nothing would metastasize to my lung. Then went through 2.5 months of radiation to ensure it. The people at the University of Chicago Hospital were very thorough. End up 5 years later, because as you know, once you reach that 5-year mark, then you're quote unquote okay. It is very rare that the longer you go, it's very rare that it comes back. At my 5-year mark, I end up having my chest x-ray. And they told me that if this cancer comes back, it comes back directly to your lungs. So I end up having a corn kernel size nodule in my lung. And that was detected on my routine checkup. So they were able to go in, collapse my lung, clean it out, reinflate my lung again. And I've been okay since.
Survivor.
29 years. 29 years.
I'll be in year 19
19.
in September.
Yes. And I was 29. Actually, my 29th year is coming up in August. But my annual checkup is always around my birthday. So that's why I say once I get that, I'm always in that, okay, I'm in my 29th year, but my 29th year is not until August.
Let's toast the water.
Water.
Here's to surviving.
Yes.
Damn right. You are damn right.
That's right. Survivors.
Now, going from, first off, how did you have you had to have had a strong support system. You had to have had a strong support system in order for you to go from where you were then to who you are now. How, when you first heard about it, how did the news feel? Because when I found out, I started laughing. I thought it was funny because cancer runs in my family, cancer and alcoholism, which is why I'm very careful about drinking too. Like when you heard the news, how did you take it?
I remember I was on the road. It was my stepdad, my mom, and my grandmother, my mother's mom. We were going to Chicago to get the biopsy and whatnot. The doctor came in. He said, "I believe it's malignant because the way he touched the feel of it, it was warm." He said, "So I believe that it's malignant. We just don't know. So we're going to take a biopsy." So I still remember vividly, and my grandmother passed away in 2008. I still remember vividly being in my bedroom and her getting the call. And I'm assuming that they told her that it was cancerous because I still remember her saying, "Is it bad?" And her needing to tell me and to get me to Chicago quickly. I'm their oldest grandchild. It was scary at first because I had just had my grandmother's oldest niece, which is my cousin, and her brother pass away from cancer. Her brother actually passed away from the cancer that I had. And that was maybe 4 years prior to, maybe 4 to 5 years prior to my being diagnosed with it. And so it was scary for me because when you're that age, you think you're invincible and you don't know exactly what cancer is, or I didn't know at that time. I didn't know what chemotherapy was. I didn't know what the effects of cancer was, because the only thing that I knew was I had two people close to me pass away from it. So I didn't know who was surviving it, how they were surviving it. I didn't know there were so many different types of cancer, and that was me being 18 at the time and being ignorant to it. And my support system was very strong, steeped in prayer with my grandparents, um, with my mother and my stepdad, and all of my mother's brothers and sisters, my siblings, my cousins. It was rewarding. It was so fulfilling to have them there, um, coming to see me at the hospital when I would do my chemotherapy treatments, 3 days on, off for a week and a half, 5 days, and keep going that way. Constantly coming up there, my grandmother's brothers and sisters coming to see me, uh, my mother's brothers and sisters coming to see me, people from the church coming to see me. So it was rewarding. It made me feel good. So I couldn't be upset about having cancer. I didn't smoke, so I just didn't know where it came from. It's just something that metastasized in my body. So it was nothing that I could be mad at. And my grandmother told me again, God gives his battles to his strongest warriors. You had no smoking history or anything of that nature, but you're going to survive. And I remember her telling me, you're going to survive. You're going to be okay. And I was, and I am.
Now, I'm jealous, by the way, because I didn't have that support system.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying?
Mhm.
I mean, I had my friends who would
Right.
come sit with me. I had like people from the church would slide through, people would send cards or anything like that, but I didn't have anybody like at home
Mhm.
to support me through that.
Mhm.
They were just waiting on me to get better so I can get out. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
So I'm jealous. Not gonna hold you, but we are still here,
Yeah.
and
we're
that
here.
is all that matters. You couldn't break me, you little bastards. Now, let's shift gears. Well, actually, let's stay on the health kick. You went from that health scare to the weight loss journey.
Right.
What sparked that? Let's start. Let's hear the story of the weight loss journey, because you, like I said, your change was, I remember, and you and I, we should have crossed paths a long time ago, because a lot of the people that you are related to, I have known for years.
Right.
I've known Mooch for years.
Yeah.
I've known Heat for years.
cousins, yeah.
I've known Steve for
Yeah.
years. I used to dance with Miss Natasha.
Yeah, my aunt.
Travis and I went to Travis and I went to church together. I've known him since we were like kids.
Right.
I don't understand how you and I did not cross paths previous to that.
Well, it's because I'm older than they are. So I'm actually 8 years older than they are.
But you
So,
were all in the same
We're
circles.
we're all in the same circle, but sometimes when they were out with their friends, I wasn't out because I was out with my friends who were in my age bracket. So you have to remember, if I'm 8 years older than them, when they were in high school, I was already well into college.
Yeah, you
So
were
we
already
had
kicking it.
different, yeah. So they were kicking it in a different way, and then I was kicking it my way because I was actually in college with my peers, and of course out on my own, and they were still living at home and whatnot. So, but we're here together now.
You are damn right. And You like the fact that you and I have been through what we've been through and we are still here is a testament, and it's a testimony. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
You and I are going to be in touch, and you and I are going to stay in
touch.
touch.
Yes, we are.
Let's talk the weight loss journey.
Okay.
How did it start? What were the steps? Who I want the whole rundown.
Shebang.
Give me the rundown.
Okay. Well, as I said before, went to the doctor for my routine checkup. Everything was operating fine. I had blood work the previous week. Blood is fine. Cholesterol was fine where it was supposed to be for my age. Organs were actually operating as if I was actually in my 30s, even though I'm in my 40s. He said, everything is good, Sherron. He said, I'm just concerned about your weight. I said, well, I can't be any more than 325, 350. He said, okay. He said, let's see. Because when you look at yourself, you never look at yourself as being as big as you are. So I stepped on the scale and it said 400 pounds. I said, huh? I looked at him and I said, something wrong with your MF and scale because I know I'm not 400 pounds. I said, I know I'm not. He said, no. I said, let's go to another scale. So we went to another scale. That one said 400 pounds. I said, I can't do this. He said, what's wrong? I said, do you have a nutritionist on hand?
So you went straight to problem solve. Let's do this.
I had to. Anytime something happens, I immediately go to crisis control. And I think that's just me, my training with marketing and whatnot. So I immediately went into crisis control. And I started thinking of all these things. Okay, I could lay down and have a heart attack. I could lay down and have a stroke. I could lay down and all these other variables that could risk me not being here.
Like there's so many different small little things that can blow up into something big just because of your weight.
And so when I went in there and he said, well, he called downstairs. He asked the nutritionist, was she available? She said, oh yeah, she's available and this, that, and the other. Went down there, talked to her. She said, listen, I'm not going to tell you to diet because that's not what I do. She said, I'm going to tell you to watch what you eat. She said, have you ever heard of bariatric surgery? I said, yes. And she said, I want you to do the same diet that they do without having the surgery. Low carb, no sugar, high protein. She said, if you do that and you exercise, he said, you're obviously active because I can see that you're active. Go ahead and do those things. So I did that. The low carb, it takes me a lot longer to grocery shop because now I'm looking at labels. She said, look at everything that has the added sugar in it. That's where a lot of your weight is coming from because of the added sugar. How many pops do you drink a day? I said, 3 or 4, and then Mountain Dew and Pepsi are the worst. And I love Mountain Dew Cold Red.
I'm a live wire drinker. So I'm right there with you.
I loved it. So when she broke it down to me, and I think sometimes with me being me, I need a breakdown of it. And her breakdown was simply, you drink a pop a day. That's 365 pops a year, even though we drink more than that a day. Just a nice round number, 365 pops a year. That's equivalent to 10-pound bags of sugar in your body. Now, if you multiply that by 4, because I'm just doing an average of drinking 4 pops a day. And I know I drink more than that, especially when they're cold in this summer season, barbecue and all the other stuff. So I'm thinking, all I could think about was me spooning that sugar in my mouth. And I said, ugh. And so she said, that's where you have to think of those contexts of everything that you're eating and the added sugars. Now, fruits have sugar in it, but they're natural sugars. So, but you still got to watch how you eat those because you can eat some fruit and go on the sugar high and then drop down really quickly. So she was like, well, I said, well, I eat a lot of apples. So she said, well, add it with some protein. So scoop it with some peanut butter just to level it off. When you're coming down, it won't drop so drastically. It'll level off.
Like a
So
taper.
yeah, taper down. So um, that was really it. And then I continued my workout regimen. I went and got a personal trainer to give me an actual workout plan, and I started seeing the weight drop, especially a week after cutting out all the sugar. I started one. I mean, this was on the weekend. I didn't start till that Sunday, and then I started weighing myself again. Still at 400 pounds. No matter how much I was trying not to be there, I was still at that 400 pounds. And then I cut out all that sugar, and it started dropping off with the heavy workout. And then sometimes I was working out every day, 7 days a week. And then sometimes I would do twice a day. Uh, I would do my cardio and then my weightlifting in the morning when I went. And then if I just felt like going at night, I would just do a bunch of cardio. So I started seeing the weight loss, and then I had pants in my closet that I had not worn when I before I was when I was going through chemotherapy. So I end up being able to fit in those pants, and I said, okay, I like the way this is going, so let me continue this journey on. So now I've become a gym rat or a health nut, where I'm eating 6 times a day, but I eat 3 meals, 3 snacks. Because you're supposed to eat 6 times a day, is what she told me, to keep your metabolism going. And she likened it to, if you eat breakfast and don't eat anything until lunch, it's like starting a cold car. Your metabolism is the cold car. So when you eat the first time, it's warmed up. Get to where you're at, stop, park, then you don't eat again, and you go out there to your car that's below zero and try to crank it up again. It's going to take you a while for it to warm up. So that's like your metabolism. But if you keep it running every 2 to 3 hours, then your metabolism is constantly moving and you're burning fat. So I've enjoyed it. I had to go clean out my closet. So I moved the closet in my bedroom to the closet in the other bedroom, and have my smaller clothes in my closet in my room. And then another closet in my house has my suits in it. So I have both my big suits and my smaller suits. I had to get 17 suits resized, cut and resized. And then plus it gave me an excuse to go buy more suits.
I was going to say, did you have to do a whole wardrobe shift?
I did have to do a whole wardrobe shift with my suits, but then I took the 17 suits that I had and took them to the tailor, and I had to take them to him 2 to 3 at a time, and he had to take the stitching out and recut them and fit them back to what my size is now.
Bet you that felt real good.
It felt good, and especially the money I spent on suits and have 17 of them and they have to go. That's the first thing I thought about. Oh my God, that's all that money, these suits. And then one of them I wore only twice, and then the other suit I wore only one time. So, but it worked out good, and I'm healthier, I'm happy, and I love the way I'm looking now and the way everything falls on me and falls in place. So
From gym rat to gym rat,
okay.
I'm going to say that your progression is motivating.
Thank
It's
you.
like you and I
Thank
are
you.
on the different sides of the scale. Like you were trying to lose and I was trying to put on.
Mhm.
So our workouts would be different.
Right.
But seeing you in there and knowing that you and I have been through what we've been through kept me going.
Yes.
Knowing that I will cross paths with you and I will cross paths with a lot of my other gym heads that'll be in there yelling at me, telling me to get the weight off my chest and to keep going and all of that. You were motivating and you didn't even know it.
Thank you.
So I'm going to give you your, what did they say? I'm going to give you your flowers while you're here.
Yes.
You were motivating just seeing you there. And I'm humbled that you decided to come sit across the table from me and come talk to me.
Well, let me say this. Like you said, we were on different paths for weight loss and weight gain. But because I know your history was mirroring mine, you were my motivation as well. So I sat there and I looked at you when I was working out. I said, okay, I'm going to get to his size. I'm going to get to his size. The hell with that 400 pounds. I'm getting to his size. I will see you. I could see, I remember You coming in, I would be on the treadmill or the elliptical, and you will go directly to your to the weights. I'm going to get there, and that's what I. So you were my motivation, and just like you thanking me for being here, I thank you for inviting me here. I've had a great time talking with you, and it's always good to talk to somebody that has the same life experience that I have. We are in different age brackets, but we still have the same life experience, health wise. Our journey from cancer to survivor to gym rat to everything that we're doing, we're still mirroring each other and kind of like my little brother in the mirror. Because you're doing almost everything that I've been doing. And even with this podcast, you're doing a lot of things that I've been doing or the industry that I'm in. And then, like I said, with the survivorship of the cancer. So you're my motivation as well. As if I'm yours, you're mine.
I am humbled. You have absolutely no idea how humbled I am. I really don't even want this to end, but I know we got.
Go ahead. We can go ahead. We can talk.
Now, I want to bring you back.
Okay.
I want to bring you back.
Okay.
Now, being that we're both in this industry, the media industry,
Right.
I always ask everyone that comes on here to give me a top 5. So give me your top 5 concerts or events that you've been to. And I'll even let you give me 2 honorable mentions.
Okay.
Or just give me the top 5 events that everybody should try to attend at least once in their lifetime.
Okay. I would say number 5, counting down. Go see at least one of the older artists before they retire. Um, Parliament is coming to ProMedica downtown for their concert series. This is his farewell tour, Parliament. So he won't be touring anymore. I'm working on a concert with Gladys Knight and the OJs. The OJs are retiring. They're going to be in Detroit. They're retiring, and if you've never seen them in concert, you must see them. We have to go see these older um, celebrities perform before they retire or pass away. Because it is my greatest regret is not seeing Prince perform or seeing Whitney Houston live.
Or Michael.
Or
I
Michael
never
live.
got to see Michael.
Never got a chance to see them live. Number 4, get to a concert in Detroit, period. You have to get to a concert in Detroit. Any of those venues have been wonderful. I don't ever think there's a bad seat in the house in any of them. Uh, Number 3 would be get out of town. Go to a concert out of town. And I stick to the concert because that's a lot of what I do. Uh, Go to a concert out of town. Don't just go to and I'm not just talking about Detroit. I'm talking about a concert in a different city. When I was doing the Join Their Family Reunion, Beyonce and Jay-Z were doing their On the Run 2 tour. And Tom's executive vice president, we were done with all of our work. And she said, what are you guys about to do? I said, nothing. We don't know what. We're done early. She said, you guys want to go see Jay-Z and Beyonce? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. We want to go see. Now, mind you, it's
Like, that's a no-brainer.
that's a no-brainer. It's 10 of us. And I said, but those tickets are expensive. She said, don't worry about it. So she ends up pulling her weight. We end up getting tickets. I'm talking close by for $15 a piece. So I was able to see Jay-Z and Beyonce. I actually saw Beyonce before she was married to Jay-Z. And saw her in concert live then, and then I saw her in concert with Jay-Z. So that's a must. Go out of town to see a concert. Um, Number 2, travel. I love the Caribbean. St. Thomas is my all-time favorite island to be at. Um, love being there. The atmosphere, the water, the sand, everything's so beautiful in St. Thomas. I try to go to St. Thomas at least once a year. Um, I haven't gone this year, but I'm making my way there or to some Caribbean island. My number one thing that somebody should do, you have to do the Joiner cruise. When you do the Joiner cruise, the other cruises don't even compare. The employees on the cruise, they cannot wait for us to get on there because the music changes, the music the live music throughout the ship because he charters the entire ship. So the the atmosphere is unbelievable. All of us on the ship with concerts, seminars, educational seminars, book signings, autograph signings. It's just unbelievable. It's just something that somebody should experience once in a lifetime. And I have been privileged enough to do it for the last 15 to 16 years. Would have been more than that if COVID hadn't happened for the 2 years. But I've been privileged and I've been blessed to have had that opportunity to not only go to these cruises, but to work and know Tom Joyner, who taught me a lot about radio, not just on national, not just in local sales, but on a national sale level. So I know how to sell nationally. And he prepped me for what I'm doing now as far as my business goes. And big shout out too to Kevin Wagner, the owner of Mix 95.7 and Hot 97.3. He's always encouraged me. He told me I reminded him of him when he started out in radio at GCI in Chicago. So he's every time he comes to town, he always, is this what you're doing? This is what you need to do. I need for you to do this. So I'm almost in the grooming session with him, grooming me to take over the stations. And so hopefully that'll happen. I'm not saying I'm not saying that's what he's doing. I don't want to get anybody scared, but that's not what he's doing. But I'm saying,
I'm ready for it.
I'm just saying this, just talking to him is something that every time I come away from talking to him is always something educational and something that fills me up with his knowledge. And like I said, I'm in marketing, have degrees in marketing, and that's what I was able to do. This man doesn't have a degree, but he owns stations. And he's a businessman extraordinaire. Grew up in Chicago, projects in Chicago. And now he's a multimillionaire. So he's a motivation as well. So, and those are my top 5 things, but my biggest regret is that I didn't start younger. And of course that was not my fault. That was cancer's fault because that set me back a year and a half, 2 years because I was focused on getting healthy. So it set me back. I could not do my education, so I had to wait till that was over with. And then once they figured out, okay, this is my regimen and this is how everything was going to go, then I was able to get back in school. And then I had professors that were, okay, you're going to be off for a week, so this is going to be your assignments. So I was able, everything was a week behind for me when I was going through chemotherapy and going through school. But I did it, and that's what I had to do.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
I can count on my hands how many times I've said this to somebody that sat across the table from me. But this was an honor.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you for coming to sit across the table from me. We will be back because we have a lot more to talk about.
Of course we do. We got a lot to talk about.
We got a lot more to talk about.
And I thank you for the invite. Anytime you need anything from me, professionally, spiritually, or even just to talk, because I know you said that you didn't have that support system like I have. I would like to be that support system for you. And I'm gonna tell you now, my family is my family, and I come from a large family. Your family,
I know.
So you know that. You know I come from a large family. So you can blend in. You're going to get that support from all of us. So don't ever hesitate to call me if you need something to talk about, or if you're scared about something or a test that came back, because I've been through it. I know it, and I know how scary it can be. And sometimes you can only talk to somebody that's been through it with you or before you. So don't hesitate to call me. You have my number, and I'm here for you. You need me professionally, personally, and spiritually. I'm here for you. We here.
This has been your episode of Across the Table, where the water is cold, the mics are hot, and the conversations are fire. Sherron, with my man 50 grand. Sherron.
Thank you again. I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you.
Anytime, man. Till we meet again, everybody. In a minute.
See you later.